Rapid Solicitors, sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Accident compensation and medical negligence claims.
Hello and welcome to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. As you can see, we're out of the studio, we've crossed the border, we've come to Scotland, we've come to Kirkcaldy, home of the Five Flyers, as you'll see, the oldest and most established Elite Ice Hockey League team. But isn't it about time we stopped talking about the Five Flyers' history and talked about today, talked about their future, talked about tomorrow? We'll be speaking with head coach Todd Dutiam later on in the show. Before that though, time for some hockey highlights. And we head over to the Odyssey Arena in Belfast. A tough opening weekend for the Belfast Giants. First of all, Friday saw them play the Dundee Stars. On Saturday, it was the Coventry Blaze. How did they get on, Chris?
This was one of Belfast's game in hand on leaders Nottingham, so a great chance for them to get themselves closer to the leading Panthers. First goal of the night, though, a bobbly rebound for AJ McLean, a 9th of the season. 1-0 to the visitors, a shock lead. But the Belfast Giants came straight back in the first period. In fact, under a minute later, Rycroft attempts goal of the season, and all seemed well in the Odyssey Arena, especially as in the second period, on the power play, the assist going to Peacock and Sandrock, a 9th goal of the year, 2-1 to Belfast. After Dundee took the lead, the Odyssey faithful thought normal service had been resumed. It's period 2, and Mike Wirral from the slot there, making it 2-2 at 26:34, and we're all tied up. But more goals were to follow in a crazy spell in the second period. Bagran there with his 10th goal of the season. So the Stars had come from behind, 2-1 down, to lead by 3-2. And now it got even better. This in the third period. Bagran and Ryanen were the guys setting this one up, and Wirral steps out from behind, his 17th goal of the season. It was 4-2. Were the Stars on their way to their first ever win in the Odyssey? And Wirral scores into an empty net, his hat-trick goal at 18th of the season, and the Stars win in Belfast. Giants 2, Dundee 5. After drop points to Dundee on Friday night in the Odyssey, points for Belfast were crucial on Saturday as Coventry came to town, but they fell behind in the first period, and what a return for Derek Campbell. Back with the Blaze, he scores at 16:15 on the rebound, 1-0 Coventry. It then became 2-0. A shot from right side by Bradley went in, a 19th goal of the season. The Blaze 2-0 up in the Odyssey, and was Belfast's title chance really beginning to falter? Well, there was some spark from both sides and some bouts of fisticuffs. First of all, we see Cameron against Phillips, the two of them going toe-to-toe, and then, no sooner had that one finished, we then see another fight, another name back in the Coventry lineup, back in Coventry for a few days, Brian Jernick, and he and Adam Keefe go together. Keefe obviously instigated that one, so he was to sit for longer. So 2 fights in quick succession in the Odyssey, and the crowd was really buzzing. Who would get the next goal, and how would that affect the game? The Blaze had a 2-0 lead going into the second period, and a special moment for Chamlers, who scores his 2nd goal of the season, and Coventry were leading by 3-0 early in period 2. The period was running out, just over 5 minutes to go, and the home side had to score. Garside does. A 2-goal game, 3-1 then, to the third period. Power play time for the home side. There's only half the period to go. They're patient though, they work it well, and the puck goes in. Stewart with an 11th goal of the season. It's 3-2. The nerves are setting in for Coventry, and the momentum is all with Belfast. And it's set up by Stewart for Surratt to take it to overtime, 3-3, and then the penalty shootout. Bradley first of all. Pad save there from Murphy. At the other end, Jeff Mason is unable to score, so Derek Campbell's on a roll. He can't score. Robbie Sandrock does score, so Mike Shute needs to score at the other end. Calm as you like, Shute does score. Now Noah Clark can win it for the Belfast Giants. He can't do so. We're going to sudden death. Bradley pad save from Murphy, so now Mason's turn. That one goes wide. Derek Campbell has his second chance, puts it wide. So Robbie Sandrock for the extra point, and Sandrock does score. What a comeback by the Giants. Belfast 4, Coventry 3.
How important a goal was that then for Robbie Sandrock, winning it in a shootout for the Belfast Giants. They looked dead and buried, didn't they, at 3-0 down, and it looked like being a shocking weekend for Big Doug's side, especially having gone down to the Dundee Stars on Friday. But they showed some character. They did come back and they did find a way to win. They did bounce back from that horrible result on Friday. Riopel again, I'm telling you, the most important player for any Elite League team is Nick Riopel of the Dundee Stars. Let's move on now. Time to go to the NIC in Nottingham. Could Jared Adams' Cardiff Devils pick up any points against Nottingham? It was always going to be tough, wasn't it, Chris?
A crowd of nearly 5,500 in the National Ice Centre, and the Nottingham fans were cheering early on. Beckett to Weaver, and the former Coventry man with a terrific pass to David Ling, and what a finish. He's a special talent, the former NHLer, and Ling scores with a beautiful finish on the netminder Azur. 1-0 Nottingham, 2:41 gone. Things got even better for the Panthers in the second period. Great pass there from Benedict, setting up Ling for his second of the night. That only 41 seconds after the first interval, and Nottingham were 2 goals ahead. Big hit there by Guy Lepine on new boy Scarborough for the Devils. And then we saw a tussle between Tyson Marsh, who took exception to that hit, and Guy Lepine. Marsh gave real good punches in this fight. Lepine with some rights there. Marsh coming back over the top and putting Lepine down with one there. Lepine's shirt is all ripped. He had to go off the ice and came back on in shirt number 61. So Nottingham have a power play. And again, they work this one well. A pass from Fox, and Lepine gets his second hat-trick against the Cardiff Devils. Got one earlier in the season at the NIC, and now he gets another one. Cardiff did come back into the game in the second period. This goal was well worked by the Devils. Faulkner and Beerbrier working it well, and then in front of the net, just ghosting in, was Kenton Smith to get his 4th goal of the season. And 3-1 Nottingham at that stage, so surely the Panthers had done enough. And they had. Weaver won the puck on the left-hand side, beat a couple of challenges, and guess who? David Ling with his 4th goal of the night. The Nottingham Panthers 4, Cardiff Devils 1.
He's not bad, that David Ling, is he? Just got the 4 goals in a 4-1 home victory against the Cardiff Devils. I'll tell you, some player, and is he leading them to a championship? It's looking more and more likely. Time for a break now. Plenty more to get through when we come back after the break, so don't you go anywhere.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports, where we're in Kirkcaldy, home of the Fife Flyers. Let's stay in Scotland. A really important game up in Dundee. It was Dundee's second game of a 3-in-3 weekend. Remember, they had that fabulous victory over the Belfast Giants on Friday night. So how would they cope against the Braehead clan? Remember, the clan had a new goalie. They also had the magical Jade Galbraith back in the lineup. How would they get on, Chris?
Out of form, Braehead clan gave a debut to new netminder Darren McChesney in this game, and it wasn't the best of starts to his career with the clan. First period action, just this dump here from Ryanen, takes deflections, and he'll want that one back. Ryanen's 19th of the season, Wirral and Baxter with the assist, but it was 1-0 Dundee. Another man on debut scored. The former Fife-man Tom's Hart Manis was set up by Farmer. 30 minutes and 3 seconds gone. A level scoreline in Braehead. And then a special moment for Jade Galbraith. Back in the lineup, of course. This assist was his 400th Elite League point. Typical Jade. Creative play. Real creative. Setting up Hayward for an 8th goal of the season. So 22-14 gone. The clan were ahead. But the Dundee Stars were not done yet, and Ryanen came down left-hand side, and Krantz scored his 3rd goal of the season. 2-2 then, just past the midway point in the game, and it was very much for the taking and anyone's game. More goals, though, in period 2. In fact, 2 more to come. First of all, down the right-hand side was Hayward. Goldie and Galbraith get the assist. Back to Hayward, 2nd of the game, 9th of the season, and the home side go ahead again. 35-14 gone. But 3 minutes later, the Stars came back at the Braehead clan. Good move involving Bagran and Hutchins this time. And Wirral, 19th of the year now for him. We're level at this game, and it's 3-3. To overtime, because there were no goals in period 3. And it was the Dundee Stars in possession of the puck, starting with Bowen. Ryanen involved as well, and it is Bagran who drifts into the front of the net. Ryanen sets it up for the overtime winner. Braehead 3, Dundee 4.
Big overtime winner then for the Dundee Stars. 2 out of 2. Could they make it 3 out of 3? We'll find out later on in the show. But that Bagran overtime winner certainly gives the impetus to the Dundee Stars. They go chasing the Braehead clan in the league table and in the conference as well. Remember, they've got a couple of games in hand. So the Dundee Stars on the move. Let's talk about the Fife Flyers. And earlier, I caught up with their head coach, Todd Dutio. We talked about lots of things. It's a great little chance to catch up with the Flyers, boss. We talked about the chances of them making the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup. Their number one aim to be a playoff team at the end of March. Have a listen to this. Todd, I look behind us and I see what we always talk about in Fife, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the history. But I get the sense coming back to Fife this year, the second year in the Elite League, there's a lot of optimism about not what's behind, but what's in front. The future of Fife looks solid and strong, and the Flyers on the ice this year have certainly gone that way, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, we do have a long and proud history here, and we do tend to go on about it quite a bit. And, I've been here for a long time, and I'm very proud of it as well. But I think, last season was a good learning lesson for the club. We realized that a lot of changes needed to be made to certainly get back up to speed and get back to our winning ways. And lots was done over the summer, lots behind the scenes that maybe people don't see all the time, but it's transferred to a relative, more success than we had last year. Numbers are coming back into the building, and people in Fife are enjoying their hockey game.
It was never going to be instant though, was it? It was always going to be a gradual progress. You had that initial year, you're now challenging in the conference, you've beaten Sheffield, you've beaten Belfast, you're winning lots of hockey games here, and that progression you hope to continue.
Absolutely, it's something that we have to build on, and I think you said it yourself. You can't just throw money at a project and expect to buy success. That just doesn't happen. We know that this is a long-term project and something that we want to build on and continue for years. And I think that certainly this year we've taken a bunch of steps in a positive direction.
One of those, I've just been downstairs, seen your new dressing room. It's great down there. Your office, your stretch room, it's just that professional environment that you want guys to come to work in, isn't it?
We were in an old changing room for a lot of years in a cramped space, and listen, it suited our needs fine, you know what I mean? But I think the move up to the Elite League and getting, back to that professional attitude and stuff like this, I think the first impression you give some of the new players and even your existing players that, the team means business behind the scene. Now it's up to you to, do the business on the ice. that dressing room gives a good first impression, and you know, it's kind of it's enjoying to come down to the office, you know.
It's a very tight hockey community here, and you yourself would have found that out more than anybody with the tragedy that happened last season. You've put your 12, your 13, your 14 years into Fife. The response you got from the people at the end of last season was almost payback, wasn't it? It was an emotional time, and everybody was there and feeling it with you.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a great deal of opportunity to speak about it, but the response that I got from the community and support that I got from the community at the time really kind of you know, made me feel like I made the right choices in sticking around in Fife and making this my home. The support was absolutely overwhelming, and I mean, you know, on an extended note, I mean, the support that I received from the hockey community, certainly around the UK and teams that we've played with and former players that I've played with, it just shows you how small of a world the hockey community is. And absolutely, I mean, I found myself getting a bit upset right now, but I'm telling you, like, it just shows you that how good the people are that surround us. And I mean, we were talking about it earlier, you know, animosities and all this go out the window. When something happens, everybody steps up to the plate and takes care of business. And so to everybody who was there for me and my family, I can't say enough thank you. Yeah,
they'll be here cheering you on tonight. You'll be there giving them everything you can tonight. Talk to us about this game that we've got to look forward to. You're a couple of guys short and some important players as well. Not the time to be facing a Steelers team trying to hang on to Nottingham's coattails.
Sheffield has made some big moves here, and like you said, they're desperate for these points. So they've come up early. They've practiced yesterday up in Scotland. You know, clearly showing that they're ready for it. And we are weak on numbers, and you know, with us an import down already, losing 2 imports, you know, really puts us up against it. But we've absorbed injuries and suspensions before, and we've come out well. So this is a tough place to play, especially when it's full. Hopefully the people make a lot of noise, and they're our extra guy tonight.
Okay, we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks. Thank you.
Good to speak to the Fife Flyers coach, Todd Duchem. New setup here in Fife, moving forward, new changing rooms, new desire, new ambition. A lot of history, as we said, at this club, but the Fife Flyers, it's all about tomorrow now. They can start forgetting yesterday and start thinking more about tomorrow. 2 people who have joined me here to talk about tomorrow for the Fife Flyers, Jackie and Paul. We'll start with you, Jackie. It's been a good year, hasn't it, for Fife? A building block on what we saw last year.
Yeah, it has. It's been excellent. I mean, our team this year has been great. Really, really, really good. We couldn't have hoped for a better team this year.
And I've been speaking with Todd Duchem, and he came back after that horrible time he had last year. You all got behind him as a club and as a community, and he's repaying you now with a great load of coaching and a great team.
Yeah, he certainly did. I think the history with Fife is the fact that the fans do get behind. We're passionate about our team, we're passionate about the hockey, and we do support the players on the ice, and we get behind them and we shout loud throughout the whole game.
Todd made a very good point to me that you didn't beat a club in the top 5 last year. You've already done that several times here. This is a tough barn to come to, isn't it, Paul?
Absolutely. We're not afraid of anyone now. I mean, we've taken on Braehead a few times, run them close, even away from home. But here in this arena, anybody's for the taking, you know.
So what is the difference between, if you like, last year's team and this year's team? Why do you come into this building tonight with more confidence than you would have done last year?
Experience. That experience that we went through last year, it was hard coming in, being short on imports. We've got better quality imports than this year, and we've got arguably one of the best players in the league this year in Casey Haynes, and I'm missing him tonight, but the guy, he leads by example every night.
Great rivalry, great conference, isn't it, with all the Scottish teams and the whole Stingrays? It could go anywhere. Is conferencing been something that the Fife fans have bought into?
I think so now. Certainly personally, I don't think I like the idea of the conference at the very, very start, way back in September, but it's certainly the fact that we're playing Scottish teams, and obviously Hull, we're at home more, we're winning games, and I think that's the key issue, is the fact that we are winning games.
Are you going to win this one tonight?
We'd like to hope, yes, we would be. The team will certainly be behind the team, and we hope to win, yes.
Okay, your prediction tonight, Steelers and the Flyers?
I think we'll beat you in overtime.
Beat us in overtime?
Beat you in overtime.
Overtime, will it beckon for overtime? Time for a break now. When we come back, highlights from tonight's game here at Kirkcaldy. It's the Five Flyers against the Sheffield Steelers. Don't go anywhere.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. Warm-up is now over. The building is filling up. It's going to be rumbustious in Kirkcaldy. Highlights now of the Five Flyers taking on the Sheffield Steelers. Here's Chris Ellis.
So the Flyers against the Steelers. Last time they met in 5, the Flyers skated to victory. What chances a repeat this time around? First period action and Bobby Chameau one-on-one. Thinks he's pulled back, maybe a hooking, maybe a penalty shot, but nothing given. A chance for the Flyers to take the lead, but they were unable to do so. So to period 2, and a chance in front of the net there for Limpride. He thinks he's scored. The Steelers start to celebrate, but after discussions, we'll see them go on. It's no goal, puck did not go over the line. Rob Caron there having a word with the benches, but it was still 0-0. We're into period 2, of course, and now more chances for the Flyers. They had 23 shots on goal throughout the game. In terms of Sheffield, they had 45, so it certainly was Sheffield with the better chances and more chances as well. But here we have the Flyers coming forward into the offensive zone, and the first goal of the night was terrific. Pitton and Horn setting up Chamont, the 17th goal of the season. 1-0 Five Flyers in period 2. Less than a minute later, the home side fans were jumping. This time Chamont and Pitton combining, and it was Hogg right on the doorstep to make it 2-0. Limpride ran into him when he scored, but the home side was celebrating. You see in the replay, it goes under there to Caro, and then a bit of a tangle between the two outskaters, but it is still 2-0, and that's the scoreline. The Flyers coming forward once more. They continued to have chances in this period that could have made it 3-0. De Caro making the save. Then it got a touch feisty. Players just inquiring about their welfare, really. Drew Fatter getting involved. So 2-0 at this stage to the home side, and surely the Sheffield Steelers needed to score the next goal to get back into the game. Well, they did, and Le Guy set up there by Stevenson. The other assist going to Michel. So that at 12-13 in period 2 saw the game at a 1-goal situation, and then a clever, neat skate there from Michel, a 14th of the year, made it 2-2. To period 3, neat move on the netminder by Gertson. That was 3-2, just a minute into the final period. See that, a terrific pirouette, and it is 3-2 to the Sheffield Steelers. So the Flyers now had to come back, and back from 1 goal down. They did so with a terrific shot from McAlpine, a 4th of the season. That made it 3-3. It was anyone's game, but a power play in the 3rd period, a real scramble, and Tyler Michel got his 2nd of the night. Painful for the Five Flyers. You'll see on the replay a real scramble, and the loose puck is put in the net. The assist to Sarich and Ferguson. So it's a 1-goal advantage for the Sheffield Steelers into the final 30 seconds. Netminder is pulled, and Gertson gets a goal into the empty net. His 2nd of the night, so 2 for Gertson, 2 for Michel, and 1 for Le Guy. That really was game, set and match as far as the Steelers were concerned. The Flyers still kept Brian Pitton out of net, gambled once more, and Ferguson into an empty net. Flyers 3, Sheffield 6.
A tight one, Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought we played all right. It's a tough barn to come into. You know, I don't think it doesn't matter who they have in their lineup. The way they play here, it's difficult to get a victory out of here. That's a great hockey club over there. You know, it could have gone either way. I thought they outplayed us in the first, and we took over the 2nd and 3rd.
2-0 up, you bring it back to 3-2. You looked in control, but then McAlpine gets a late one.
Yeah, I thought we were in pretty good control at 3-2, and then we we gave up the line, and you know, a good shot from McAlpine makes it 3-3 and all to play for. And you know, we were lucky, fortunate to get a power play goal to seal it, and then a couple empty nets, and that was it. But I thought it was a good game, very good game. It's a hard barn to come into. You know, I don't see how this Fife team drops points here.
Michel comes up big, scores that big two goal, and then of course gets the winner.
Yeah, no, he had a great game. Him and Leggy, probably the best leg he's played in a while. I put Michel up with Leggy on that line with Champagne. I thought they created a lot. They had a lot of chances. I mean, we had a lot of chances to score. We hit 3 posts today, tons of pressure in their zone, and you know, one of those games where you're always going to wonder if it was going to go your way or not. But you know, we found a way to win. Power play came up when we needed it, and you know, we're happy to get out of here with 2 points.
What are your thoughts, Todd, after that one? Feel like you should have perhaps got something out of it?
Well, I mean, we didn't know what to expect. You know, Sheffield has made some vast improvements over the last couple of weeks, and we beat them in here last time. I was a bit nervous, especially being a couple of guys down. We adjusted a few systems throughout the week, and you know, for the first 30 minutes, I thought we were right in there with a shot. You know what I mean? Even went down. They killed the atmosphere in the building, but Steve McAlpine got that late tie-in goal. And we were alive again, and we were there. But a power play goal to end our hopes, and you know what? But good effort from the fellas.
First period, you had several quality chances, just couldn't hit the net.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been killing us a little bit. I mean, well, maybe not that first line so much. They generate the majority of our offense, but certainly our secondary offense. We got a couple chances on net, but once again, we're not burying those chances, and that's kind of hurt us down the long run. We need to find a way to get our other lines scoring, and I certainly think with a healthy squad, it gives us more options as a coaching staff, and hopefully that starts coming.
When we spoke before the game, you were worried a little bit about a short bench, but your third line came up big.
They certainly did, and I think that it's been a bit frustrating for them. They haven't had as much ice time as they may have liked, but they do a great job for us. They step up, and like I'd mentioned there, Steve McAlpine scores a big goal for us, and it's great for his confidence, and I think they did a pretty good job against an awful solid squad tonight.
Well, Ryan Finnerty was certainly pleased with that result. I don't know if it was a 6-3 game there at the end, but certainly a valuable 2 points for the Sheffield Steelers. To discuss the game in greater detail, I'm joined by Danny Stewart. It wasn't a 6-3 game, was it, Danny?
No, not by any means. A couple empty netters there, and a late power play goal with 4 minutes left to take a 4-3 lead. And you know, the boys battled hard to the end, but you know, that late goal, you know, snuck the 2 points for them.
Was the first Michel goal, the 2-2 goal, perhaps a real pivotal point because you'd gone 2-0 up, Sheffield had come back, and then it was that late goal that kind of deflated you a little bit?
Yeah, you know, a minute and a half left in the second. They got just a 1-on-3, a harmless rush, 1-on-3, and you know, he cuts to the middle and gets, you know, open in the slot for a shot himself and scores. And you know, it's you don't want to give those up, but you know, giving up a goal with the first minute in the third period killed the life out of us too. But somehow we were able to come back. You know, our third line chipped in with a goal tonight, got us back to level at 3-3, and then a late call there with, you know, 4 minutes left to go, and they capitalized, and you know, that sealed the deal. Yeah,
the third line, give them credit. I know when we were speaking with Dutz earlier, he was worried about the lack of depth tonight with the players you had out, but they came through. McAlpine gets a big goal.
Yeah, it was a big goal. You know, it's not only did he tie the game, but you know, at 3-2 we weren't looking really threatening either at that point. But you know, he came up big and got that goal for us. But again, you know, obviously a late call, and you know, they capitalized on the power play, which is something that we focused on all week. We knew they had a good power play, and you know, we just got out battled in front of the net for a rebound, and they put it in the empty net.
I was stood with Casey Haynes in the first period. You had a lot of chances, and he was commenting to me, a lot of chances, but the puck's just going wide, not going on net. You had the chance actually to go ahead in that first period.
No, definitely. We talked about it after the first. It was a great first period. We had a lot of energy, and like you said, we missed some quality scoring chances. We had a couple empty nets, and you know, that stuff happens. You know, we were still able to go up 2-0 and put ourselves in good position, and then, you know, they got a 4-on-3 goal, and after we'd killed the 5-on-3 off, and earlier in the game, and then they capitalized. But again, you know, you're 2-1 at home with a minute and a half left, 2 minutes left in the second. You got to bear down and get into that, you know, dressing room with a lead, and we failed to do that, and it seemed to sink the life out of us.
Okay, well, we thank you for joining us now. You've got a tough bus trip, I know, to Cardiff. I've just seen in the Cardiff dressing room, bus leaves 7 a.m. Sunday morning, so I don't envy you that one. Right, that's all the action then from Saturday. When we come back after the break, we'll have all the goals, all the action and all the reaction from all of Sunday's games. Don't go anywhere.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. Time for more action now and a nice little battle down at the Skydome Arena between the Coventry Blaze and the Hull Stingrays. Remember, both of these teams picked up points on Saturday night. Coventry in a shootout loss to the Belfast Giants and the Hull Stingrays going down at home to the Edinburgh Capitals. Let's see how the Sunday battle went on. How did it go, Chris?
The Blaze dominated the opening period of this one. 14 shots on goal they had. And the Hull Stingrays had just the 8. So no surprise when Dustin Cameron broke free left-hand side across Ben Bounds. 1-0 on the power play to Coventry. Cameron's 16th goal of the season. It also wasn't a surprise when they got goal number 2. Involved here, Dustin Cameron, but the crucial feed by Derek Campbell. Back, of course, with the Blaze. And doing well already for points. That was Greg Lee's 10th goal of the season. And 7:55 gone. Saw a game 2-0. In Coventry's favour. But if the Blaze dominated period 1, session 2 was the Stingrays with 17 shots on goal. First of all, 17-year-old Hull-born Sam Towner sets up Tanaka for his 6th goal of the season, and then a great skate from Otterlins enabled Silverthorne to score an 11th goal of the campaign, and it was level at 2-2. No goals in period 3. Despite the fact that Coventry outshot Hull 15-7 to penalties. Osman misses, so Brad Leib has the chance to put Coventry in front in the shootout. No, he can't do so, really loses control. Matty Davis then in the GB preliminary squad for Latvia. A pad save there. So it is still 0-0 in the shootout. No one has scored. Dustin Cameron scored in the game. Could he score in the shootout? No, he's denied. So Jason Silverthorne can really put the pressure on the Blaze if he scores here. In on the netminder, and the door is closed by Peter Hirsch. So Mike Shute can be the hero, the D-man. Very good offensively, and he scores the extra point for the Coventry Blaze. Final score in the Skydome, Coventry 3, Hull 2.
Under strength, on demand, but the Coventry Blaze come out on top against the Hull Stingrays. More action now. Let's head up to Murrayfield, where the Edinburgh Capitals were taking on the Dundee Stars.
Two Scottish rivals went head-to-head in Murrayfield. Not just league points at stake as the battle for the playoffs intensifies, but of course Gardner Conference points on offer as well. First period action, and Hartman and Yarrelin do so well to set up Zenbergs. 66 seconds gone in Murrayfield, and the home side are ahead. But anything you can do, I can do better was the message from the Stars, because Baxter sent Bowen free. What a terrific skate from him, and right on the doorstep was Kraus. Easy goal for him, a 5th goal of the year. 1-1 then in period 1. The period was to close, though, with more action, but not goal action. It was feisty. Players from both sides getting involved. Minor penalties for Harper and for Forsyth for the Dundee Stars. And for Edinburgh, it was Beattie and Goldie going to the box. No big punches thrown, but certainly some feistiness between the two Scottish rivals. So at the end of one period, it was level pegging at 1-1. On which side we're going to get the crucial goal in the second period? A power play to the visitors, and this time Bowen and Bagran combine for AJ McLean on the doorstep for a 10th goal of the season. 2-1 Dundee then at 33-15. But just over 2 minutes later, the Edinburgh fans were the ones who were jumping for joy. They came forward, did the home side, and Zenberg gets his 11th goal of the season. The assist to Dobrin. It's a 2nd goal of the night for Zenbergs, so we're level at 2-2. To period 3, there's been a goal apiece in each period so far, and in period 3, it is 3-2 Edinburgh. Short-handed, a rebound for the returning Portwood. So the Stars had to come from behind. This move was started by their player-coach, Jeff Hutchins, down the left-hand side, but then Kraus and Bowen are involved. And it is McLean with his 2nd of the night and 11th of the season. 3-3 hockey game. And we're going into the final minute now, and what a dramatic finish. Baxter and Bagran, and it is Ryanen with 33 seconds to go to get the game-winning goal. Final score, Edinburgh 3, Dundee 4.
3 wins out of 3 for the Dundee Stars. Jeff Hutchins must be as happy as a butcher's dog right now, mustn't he? Let's head down to Cardiff, though, for our next action. And you'll recall when I spoke to Danny Stewart earlier in the show, they started their bus trip down to Cardiff with a 7 a.m. start. It was always going to be a tough haul for them. How did they get on?
Cardiff needed to bounce back after Saturday night's defeat by Nottingham. And in the first period, they had the start that they needed to the game. Gerard Adams, the player coach, was the man who set this one up. Blight involved as well, and Phil Hill scored an 11th goal of the season at 18:03 for a 1-0 first period lead to the home side. In period 2, the Devils had 14 shots on goal, but only one of them went in. This time the assist going just to Blight, so it's his second assist of the game. And 2:50 into the second period, Batch with a second attempt on a rebound, his 4th of the year. The British youngster having a great season so far. He made it 2-0. So to period 3, and the Cardiff Devils, well, they gave a goal away really. A bit sloppy behind the net. Azur caught out of position. John Dolan, a 7th of the year, making a 1-goal game. And the Five Flyers certainly had the momentum with them, and could they pull something off, perhaps take the game to overtime. But they went from attack to being on the back foot. Free-flowing move, Blight with his 3rd assist, Batch involved as well, and Faulkner will give him room, he's gonna score. Cardiff 3, Fife 1.
I think we all expected that Cardiff Devils victory, a good home win in the big blue tent for Gerard Adams' team. Let's stick then with the Erdhart division and the Sheffield Steelers. They were back home at the Motorpoint Arena taking on the Braehead clan. Remember, Braehead picked up a point but went down to the Dundee Stars on Saturday. How would they bounce back, Chris?
It was an even first period in terms of shots on goal between the Steelers and the clan, 9 each, but that wasn't reflected in the scoreline. You see here a neatly worked goal finished off on the rebound by Legui, Champagne and Fata with the assist, 3:55 gone, and the Steelers ahead in their own barn. At 6:34, it was goal number 2, again well worked, this time on the power play, and Michel and Sarich setting up Jeff Legui from the right circle. A 2nd of the night and a 23rd of the season. The angle from behind the net sees the netminder beaten, and you see here in great slow-mo, what a great swing back with the stick, the flex of the stick, and that is a bullet so direct from Legui. He scores his 2nd of the night. So to period 2, and the clan had to come from behind. First of all, on the doorstep, Goldie, a 20 of the season, Nicoletti and Galbraith back in the lineup, back into Glasgow and playing for the clan after an absence. So that was good at 5:43 in period 2, and 20 seconds later a great escape from Hansen sees Farmer force the puck over the line. So 26:03 gone in the game, it's 2-2, the puck's loose here, De Caro doesn't know where it is, and Farmer is first to react. Still more goals to come though in period 2. On the power play, Ashley Tate on the doorstep. He scores goal number 15 of the season at 36:15, reacting first to the rebound, and the Steelers went ahead once more. Again, the slow-mo sees the netminder, Newboy, McChesney just getting to it, but not enough to keep the puck out. This is goal number 4, again on the doorstep, this time from Michel, Ferguson and Legui with the assist once more on the power play. Again, it takes so many rebounds, but you can see here, D-man tries to clear, but Michel says, that's not happening, son. That's going into the back of the net. So 4-2 lead for the Steelers going into the 3rd period. Could the clan mount another comeback? Well, not in this form. First of all, Champagne, his first goal since joining the Steelers. It was a 6th of the season. 5 of them coming for the Belfast Giants. Things got better when Jason Hewitt scored a 6th goal of the season. Lovely move from Ferguson and Tate, and Hewitt just drifts into the slot. That is 6-2 and very much game over. Still time for one more goal. Great escape from Champagne, and it was Michel to fire it over the line. That's now 136 goals conceded this season for Braehead. That's 15 more than the 2nd worst record of the Edinburgh Cats. Final score in the Motorpoint Arena, Sheffield 7, Braehead Clan 2.
Ryan, another important victory for the Sheffield Steelers. You seem to be rolling, got a bit of momentum now. Is that how it feels to you?
Yeah, well, I think we needed to get hot at this time of the year. Like I said, we're got a small mountain to climb, but we're not looking too far in the future here. We're taking it one game at a time and focusing on what we can do today and at that particular moment. And I think the guys have been responding well. We're playing good hockey, and when we're not playing good hockey, John DeCaro's playing great hockey. So he's backstopped us pretty well, the whole time. And like I said, hopefully we're clicking at the right time, but we're pretty even keeled here. We're not trying to get too far ahead of ourselves, and right now we turn our focus to Coventry next Saturday.
Let's talk about the two performances this weekend, starting in Scotland in Fife. What did you make of how the Steelers played?
You know what, we played good. We went down 2-0. Obviously a bit of a concern, but that's one of the hardest buildings to play in, and it's hard to play well in there. And they play extremely well, and it doesn't matter who's in their lineup. It just doesn't matter in that rink, and it's a great atmosphere. And we went down 2-0, but we responded and were able to even it up. The power play's been unreal for us. The power play saved us, and then I thought we got better as the game went on. But they just kept coming at us. They kept coming. They scored some opportune goals, but I thought we carried the play for the most part, and definitely deserved the 2 points. It wasn't a 6-3 game. It was a 4-3 game with 2 empty nets, but I think the guys battled hard, and we deserved the 2 points.
And let's talk about the Braehead game on Sunday, a game that was, particularly first period, a period of real dominance for the Sheffield Steelers, a little slip at the start of the second. When you go back to analyse it, how hard is it to take anything out of that game? Well,
we played a great first period. A really good first period, and then we addressed it in the room, because we've done this in the past where we've played great first periods, and then we take our foot off the gas and allow teams to come back at us, and all of a sudden you go out, you address it, and you think that every time you come out of the room something's going to change, and they come back at us. And let's be honest, for the better part of 13, 14 minutes, we didn't play good hockey. We allowed Braehead to come at us, they tied the game back, and then the power play kicked in again and got us out of trouble. We went in after the second period, was frustrated. I wasn't happy with the guys. Wasn't happy with the way we allowed them to come back in, because we did address it. We've been addressing this situation for months now. Then the guys responded. I thought they came out in the third and responded. We played a very good game, and I thought we played a very good game when the game was out of reach. I don't think we gave up a whole lot. It's easy to turn and be offensive in those games and not care about your D zone, and I thought the guys did a very good job and kept it tight at the back end and didn't leave Johnny out to dry, and that's not something we do here. But with good D zone, we create offensive zone chances, especially with teams that are obviously going to open it up and need to cheat. I thought we broke them down a lot, and we probably could have had 2 or 3 more in the third.
So the Sheffield Steelers stay in the title hunt, an important 2 points picked up against the Braehead clan. They go chasing the Nottingham Panthers, but it's a very tough haul for Ryan Finnity's side. So you've seen the action, you've seen all the highlights. Let's just take a recap of the scores over the weekend. Started, of course, on Friday night, where the Dundee Stars overturned the Belfast Giants at the Odyssey Arena by 5-2. On Saturday, the Hull Stingrays 2, Edinburgh Capitals 3. Belfast Giants 4, Coventry Blaze 3. That game, of course, after overtime and a penalty shootout. At the NIC in Nottingham, the Panthers 4-1 over the Cardiff Devils. In Glasgow, the home team, the Braehead clan, going down to the Dundee Stars 4-3 again after overtime. And in Kirkcaldy, the game that we have seen this evening, it ended up the Fife Flyers 3, the Sheffield Steelers 6. Flipping on to Sunday, that's the 13th, at the Motorpoint Arena, the Sheffield Steelers 7-2 over the Braehead clan, Coventry 3-2 over the Hull Stingrays. In Murrayfield, the Caps go down to the Dundee Stars, who make it 3 wins in 3 nights, and then the Cardiff Devils 3-1 victors over the Fife Flyers. So taking a look then at the 2 conferences, Braehead lead the way by that single point over the Dundee Stars, but look, Dundee have 4 games in hand. It's very tight, isn't it, in the Gardner Conference. Tight as well in the Erdard, but not quite as tight. Nottingham lead the way by 4 points from Belfast, Sheffield, Cardiff and Coventry. So if we throw those 2 conferences all into the hat, how does that end up? Well, the Nottingham Panthers lead the Belfast Giants, Sheffield, Cardiff, Coventry, but it's getting tighter. Dundee move above Braehead That's significant, especially as the Stars have 2 games in hand. But down at the bottom, the Edinburgh Capitals over the Hull Stingrays, but can they catch the Five Flyers for that final playoff spot? So that's how the table looks, and it looks very promising if you are a supporter of the Nottingham Panthers, doesn't it? OK, may I suggest that you take in a game this coming weekend? There's plenty of good ones to choose from. Let's take a look at the fixtures in the Elite League. Starting off on Saturday, the 19th of January, in the Big Blue Tent, the Cardiff Devils take on the Edinburgh Capitals. Braehead Clan versus the Hull Stingrays. Back here in Kirkcaldy, it's the Five Flyers and the Dundee Stars. Nottingham Panthers host the Belfast Giants, and the Sheffield Steelers take on the Coventry Blaze. Flip forward 24 hours, Sunday the 20th of January, Sheffield take on the Nottingham Panthers, a 5 o'clock start at the Motorport Arena. Coventry host the Belfast Giants at the Skydome, 5:15. Edinburgh host the Hull Stingrays, and the Dundee Stars take on the Five Flyers. You'll be able to see all the goals, all the highlights and all the reaction on next week's show. Saturday the 26th of January on Sky Sports 4, 12 AM and 3 AM. Yes, 12 AM and 3 AM. Remember to set your recorder for that one. OK folks, that's all from here up in Kirkcaldy. We've had a great time. Fife hospitality, outstanding, just as we would have expected to be. Great show up here in Fife. If you live in this part of the world, this is a great building to come and watch your hockey, and we suggest that you do so. We'll see you next week. We'll be back in the studio looking at all the big action, all the big talking points as well, and are the Nottingham Panthers going to be 2-4 points closer to an Elite League title? See you next time.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.